Let's play with Python. First thing we're going to have to do is download it. Let's head to browser, search Python, and we want python.org. I'm going to download the latest, which at the time of recording this is 3.13. Don't worry if the version is different for you, it just means it has been updated since this video was made. It will still work the same. Also, I'm downloading the Windows version, but you can get versions for the Mac and Linux. Just click on Downloads. Once it has downloaded, just follow the usual prompts. You can leave everything at default and just click Next. It should only take a minute or two. Once done, you can close the installation window and close the browser. And now we're ready to prepare VS Code. Opening up VS Code, the first thing I want to do is add a few extensions. So I'll go into the Extensions tab, and in the search bar, I'm going to search Python. A lot of results are going to come up. Don't worry, you don't need them all. In fact, the only one you really need is this top one called Python. When you install this, it will automatically install the Python debugger below it. I do want to have a little look around and see if there is anything else here I want to install. I'll take this Python Extended and the Python Extension Pack. I also want this Python indent. Python is very fussy about correct indentation, so it could come in handy. I'm just going to browse through and install anything that might be useful. Extensions are great for auto-completing code and fixing formatting issues. There's literally extensions for everything. I like the snippets extensions too. They auto-generate chunks of code, saving a ton of time. Play around, install whatever you want. If you change your mind later, they're easy enough to uninstall. Now I want to create a folder where I will keep all my Python programs. I'll create a new folder called Python, and then I'm just going to drag that onto the VS Code icon to open it in VS Code. Over in the Explorer, I'll right-click and select New File. I want to create a new file called Hello with the extension of py. This tells VS Code that it is a Python file. I can see this is correct because it now has the Python icon next to it. If you don't have that, then install the VS Code icons extension. Now for our first statement, we'll do a print statement. Just type print followed by a pair of parentheses. Inside the parenthesis, we want quotation marks, and inside those, we'll write Hello World. Now we can go to Run, select Run without debugging, and you should get a terminal open at the bottom with your print statement, Hello World, showing. But we want more. Let's personalize it by creating a variable called name. The value for this variable will be an input from the user, so we type name equals input parenthesis, and then inside the parenthesis, inside quotations marks, we want to prompt the user for their name. Now, instead of Hello World, we can remove world, type a comma after the closing quotation mark, and type the name of our variable, name. Now when we run it, it first asks the user for their name. We'll input a name here, press enter. Now we get a more personalized greeting. What is happening here is that when the user responds to the prompt with their name, it stores that value as a string in the variable name. Then, when it gets to the print statement, it prints hello followed by whatever string is stored in the variable name. Let's add another variable. This time we'll call it age and prompt the user for their age using the same input as we did in name. Only this time we'll ask them, what age are they this year? The reason I asked them for age this year, instead of just age, is that I want to do a calculation, and for consistency, I want their age on this year's birthday. Now, just to check this works as expected, I'll do another print statement, this time combining some strings, the bits in quotation marks, and the variables. Type a string. After the closing quotation mark, type a comma. Type the variable name, a comma. Then you can do another string and another variable, always separating with commas. You can print as many strings and variables as you want, providing every string is inside quotation marks and commas separate every input. So now we can say hi to the user and say how old they are. So, if we run this now, first it asks for our name, we input that, remembering to click in the terminal, unlike me. One day I'll get used to doing that. Let me just delete that and do it properly. Then it says, hello to us. This is immediately followed by the prompt for our age. We enter this and we then see our final print statement that says hello and tells us our age. That's nice. I mean, we are getting user input and printing to the console. But we're not really doing much with that info. So let's change things up, and instead of printing their age, we can use their age to calculate their year of birth and print that. First, I just want to put a couple of empty print statements at the top and the bottom of our code. This will just print out empty lines in the console above and below our printed text, making it easier to read. I'll also make sure we have a space at the end of our prompt to make the input a little nicer to read. Now, if we run it again, follow our prompts and input our data. Any old name and age will do. Now, the result looks better. That spacing just helped separate it from all the standard terminal text. Okay, so we do not want to print their age, so let's change that. Instead, we'll print hi name you were born in, followed by their birth year. Because they haven't inputted their birth year, we will have to calculate it. We already have all the information we need to do that. We'll create the variable birth underscore year. Now, we will set that equal to a calculation. To find their birth year, all we do is take the current year, 2024, at the time of this video, and minus their age. This is why I asked for their age this year, so if they turn 30 this year, but haven't had their birthday yet, they would enter 30 and the result would be accurate. But running this, we should get an error. And there it is. It says error on line 9, our calculation. What's wrong? Well, we asked for an input, we got an input. The problem is that by default, the input is stored as a string. All we need to do to fix this is convert it to an integer by placing the age variable inside int, parenthesis. You cannot perform any math operations on a string, only integers and floats. We'll cover more of those in a future video. Now, if we run it again, enter a name, I'll go with June this time, then enter the age and press enter. It runs the calculation and tells us our birth year. And that is it. You've created your first Python program that uses variables, print statements, user inputs, and a calculation. Well done. That's all for now. Please consider liking and subscribing. Comment below any other topics you'd like to see covered. Bye for now.